white thing. All I remember, grabbing at them, and it wasn't even going fast, and everything so much like you hear, you know, happening in slow motion, because it was quite slow. Normally that'd help, but it was a massive HGV. He veered on the pavement, asleep at the wheel, and there was nowhere to leap aside as I tried jamming myself between. And Cress died immediately, crushed against the wall. Julian. We said yes after a week, no way back, brain dead. He'd been so bright, snuffed out really in the same. Did attend the trial. It was so swift because of Crispin. CPS friends. But because of the man too, almost felt, well, I didn't hate this man, Isaac, but he just said, I'm guilty. I was tired. Nothing else. No release for anyone. And Crispin, he said, proves everything about regulation and making individuals as accountable as employers for their schedule. He said it so quickly after the arrest. Like he had to get that in there before we could think anything. And that, yes, it really was beginning of the end. Didn't realise it then. Crispin processed grief as legislation or people failing to live up to his level of, citizenship? He did process it like that. But of course not grief. Support. There's no legislation for that. So he said why there's no grounds for, not grief, but employers' liability. And it's so hard to prove. So this Isaac got 2 years and, well, visa cancelled. Crispin. I think he still chairs the Parliamentary Committee on Working Practice about flexibility in the workplace. Because you've heard all this. There's so many heavy goods vacancies. And he took over from the last government who went in hard. And we're pro-business too, he always said. And was always loyal about 0 hour, though I did think of those women peeing in bottles in Amazon fulfillment centres or men in lorries. And even when Crispin said, no, let's leave that for now. So I heard when the papers went in with their xenophobic trash about illegal this and illegal that, you know, Isaac wasn't illegal. He wasn't, but on a visa extension, yes, because there's a huge HGV shortage still. But now his wife and child, landlord, throwing them out on a no-fault eviction. Party never revoked that because you have to be pro-business. Constituents wrote to Crispin early on that they were being evicted from his constituency. He said, well, that's too bad, but they're the family of a man who killed our 2 children, 2 future stars. Yes, he did put it in that way. Like they're genealogical, so, God, sorry. Take a minute. Anyway. It's not that the wife still less his children's fault. And Crispin said, let their country look after them. If they weren't here, our children would be. I think he said that, which is crazy because it came out like if the children weren't there now, our 2 somehow just apparate. I mean, like Harry Potter portal or, oh God, can I take a... Thank you. So, I'd moved out and Crispin didn't want anything messy, you know. He was generous, well, no surprise. In 6 months, he wasn't just with someone, a PA, of course, 25. She'd moved in, having his first new baby. Wasn't moving on so much as obliterating the past. They can spin that one, new love after terrible tragedy that tore his marriage, and let's not go there. Read it yourself. But at least, well, I had enough and worked at the council again from before I moved, and that family, they were in B&B, I discovered, subject to deportation. I said, why? As they can't even leave, and why tear them apart more, and they've got nowhere where they came from. So I found a way to visit them. They knew who I was straight off and were horrified. I said, I'm here to help. It's then I found it all out. It's Isaac Aran, he's called. Aran. Almost suicidal with guilt, but it's clear, he said, he'd worked 18 hours non-stop that shift and 32 before that. Illegal, even with our laws. He warned them. I've copies of the email, these firms. Once Crispin said, we shouldn't discourage. Within reason, well, no reason at all. Carte blanche, I said. And he looked. So I said, Blanche, yes, it's a white thing, isn't it? White thing. White van culture. Demonized everyone else, so they're the ones driving 100 hours a week, whole 0-hour serve culture, Crispin, and he starts screaming and I scream back, white thing, remember that? Left the party. Took up cajels on Aran's behalf on all this. And media, they said it's Stockholm Syndrome twisted. I said, you helped kill my children with overworked drivers, and who cheered on Brexit? That's not it. It's everything. Westminster, business. They killed my family. Crispin tried shutting me up. I recorded it and led him on to saying these things he had to resign over. Think that PA's left him now. At least he's got a child who, was it 2? Somewhere in the world he'll see me then. I look at Lila, Isa, little Aran. They're all I've got now, for now. It has to be enough. Yes, well, for the moment, they're living with me. Out of black and white politics. Out of this toxic thing, this white death, the grey, where hope is. Where love is. They're with me.